So there, while I was talking over that last loading screen about the previous mission, they were talking about how so now Soap and Price and that are trying to find Makarov, but we're actively hunting for him now. And we've traced some cargo of his through a kind of Russian company that's smuggling stuff through Sierra Leone in Africa. So now we're in Sierra Leone to try to see if we can get a trace on him, essentially.
Try not to die this time. You worry about it.
So now we are following Soap and Price, just like the old days. We're back on the grid, we're back with things. We're still kind of off doing our own thing. We're not with anybody else. We're still disavowed. Important first thing really to mention with this mission is the obvious one of the inevitable weirdness or problematicness of representations of Africa in a military shooter. Just like any non-first world country is going to look poorly in one of these games. Using a first world country as a battlefield seems alright to an extent because it's kind of like our own, the developer's own kind of world they're destroying. Whereas depicting a kind of African battlefield is always going to look somewhat stereotypical and problematic and just kind of perpetuate pre-existing stereotypical representations of Africa. These kind of shanty towns and burnt down villages and people immolating people, like all very kind of savage and just stereotypical, really, in problematic ways.
They're gonna torch the poor bastard.
Like, they're supposed to be about to torch this person. It's pretty hard, I guess, not to do this in a problematic way. There's not much to say about that isn't bleeding obvious, but it is worth acknowledging just the weirdness of doing an Africa level where British men kind of mow down all these Sierra Leone men in a kind of performance of colonialism almost. And you just save that person, and now you just kind of got to sit here and watch these people get murdered. Like, you don't see scenes in Brazil or anything of this kind of cold-hearted murder like this, unless it's Zakharov doing it. And here it's just kind of like, these people are evil as opposed to necessarily just Russian soldiers, and it's a bit weird.
Alright, get ready. Move.
So of course this mission, kind of like a lot of missions in Modern Warfare 3 and a lot of missions again in Modern Warfare 2, follows the all gillied up kind of model of following someone really closely just to have this kind of finely crafted stealth experience for half the mission. Where, you just do what you're told and things work out. Moments like laying in the grass as the ute goes past. Or the technical, rather, for my non-Australian followers who don't know what a ute is.
Hold up.
I remember reading the Edge magazine review of this game when it first came out, which I think was one of a few reviews of Modern Warfare 3 that actually, took it for what it was and critiqued that in a really interesting way. They talk about the kind of comfort and of seeing the same animations acted out as Modern Warfare 1 and 2, the way Price opens a door, or the way their feet kind of slide side by side when you're following them. Like Soap might be animated the same way you've seen Price animated in a previous game. There's this kind of returning aesthetic there. It's kind of nice to see the artificiality of it, really, like this thing as a made object, made by the same people that made the previous objects, in a way. In part, at least, the same people. And I kind of appreciate that, and you'll see that over and over, kind of comfort in new animations, or old animations. And you have that moment there where Price just brutally stabs that person. Kind of reminding us he's not a very good person, that he's very cold and precise, and again, like the headshot previously. But what I know kind of disturbs some people is moments after we see that Price isn't a good man, we're made to do this, and now Yuri clearly isn't a good man as well. And then we look down there and they take them out.
Hostiles approaching.
But you know, so that's potential. So I know that made some people uneasy, not wanting to be essentially someone as bad as Captain Price, essentially. So we have this moment here where we're providing support, just kind of like in the submarine in Modern Warfare 2, where these guys are going off and doing their own thing without me. And I just stay back here.
Moving. Breaching now.
So they're running up and looking in the factory to see if they can find any trace of Makarov's cargo.
Clear. Clear? This place is bloody empty. Nikolai, the factory.
So we're kind of told something about it without necessarily having to be there.
You must have moved to the militia's headquarters at the center of town.
We're moving there now. Heads up, we've got company. We're compromised.
And then they get compromised, so I have to get to them really quickly. So we have this moment where I'm alone, which in previous games is so frustrating, like the missions where you're by yourself. But here you're not by yourself for too long, it's just this kind of split second, and then you suddenly catch up to them again, which is much nicer. You know, it actually uses this knowledge of being alone as not fun, as an urgency rather than the entire mission. I like as you walk up here, you just see Soap just kind of retreat and leap over there. Kind of this nice moment of seeing like we're on the back foot kind of thing. And of course we have the exact same kind of pacing structure of, you know, the stealth stops all of a sudden, now we're shooting everyone. Again, we've seen it over and over again now, it's kind of tried and tested. And we still have Yuri's ridiculous gun. You know, kind of bouncing all over the place. He's still very much an outsider in this kind of team. I do find this area much more tolerable than the Brazil levels in the previous game. It's still a similar kind of shanty town being overrun by everyone stuff, but less vertical and less just kind of clown doors with people bouncing out of them. I really like here this kind of, the fact they put two ladders here, just for the flow of the level, you're not kind of stuck there for ages waiting for two NPCs to go up before you. You can kind of go up beside them at the same time. It's a nice way to use a ladder to try to funnel you into this area where you can't go back from, because there is no ladder on this side. So they use a ladder to do that, but they don't, you know, make you slow down at all. But arguably that's also could be a problem, since the game kind of falls apart for new players if they're allowed to get ahead of the people they're meant to be following. So you can kind of take that either way, I guess. And then they kind of break up the running gunning, which again didn't go for that long. It never does in this game. They don't, it never feels like they're filling up time for no reason. But then they break it up again with putting you on a standard gun turret, blowing up explosives and whatnot. This part probably does go for a bit too long though. They probably could have made this maybe half the length. Like, after a while you just kind of get a bit uneasy of just mowing down wave after wave of black men. It's kind of continuing the trend of having weird old rough guns as Yuri. And then the technical gets blown up. And then suddenly you go from this really stationary kind of gameplay to just having to run without even a weapon kind of gameplay. Like, the polar opposite. Oh, you do have a weapon, my bad. But like, you're being targeted by mortar fire, and you just gotta run. So again, that kind of changing up what you're doing really quickly, just like constantly keeping you on your feet.
Incoming right.
Then kind of falling through the roof, kind of. And the second you fall through the roof, two people are attacking you, like, you need to respond instantly or else you're just going to get stabbed and have to do it again. So it just keeps things going, like it never, like, just kind of forces it to keep going. Like, there are downtimes in different levels, but like, it'll just change from one kind of action to another so quickly. So that's where the mortar was being shot from. They shot another one just to make sure you're aware of it, and then you take them out.
Welcome. Yuri, man the mortar on the roof.
shells downrange.
Just kind of moving the right stick around to choosing where the mortar goes. But even this, like, so you've gone from purely stationary to purely motion to purely mobile, and then back to purely stationary again.
Put a mortar shell on. Keep firing a mortar. That's good for now. Let's move.
And even then, like, I didn't even take out all the targets for the game. It's like, that's enough. Let's keep going with this. Like, there's no point dwelling on this for too long. We've got some tunneling, some literal tunneling, to kind of, you know, break apart the action a bit.
Nikolai approaching the church now. You're sure the car...
So we're trying to find the militia headquarters now, since the factory was empty.
Not there, then it's already on its way to Europe.
Let's hope he's right.
So the crates are being shipped to Europe that we're trying to intercept. We don't know what they are yet. So of course now we're kind of back to just a bit of running and gunning. But it was nicely split up in between with those other movements. I need to get rid of this gun. Shit. Whoops. Oh my god. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Pretty sure I just swapped it out for the exact same gun. Now, keeping character. What are you doing, Price?
Area clear. So, get the door.
So another door we can't open ourselves, always up to somebody else. Still reminding us we're meant to be behind these people, not in front of them. My road, so. So the helicopter's coming down to get rid of the cargo, so we're really in a rush to get there. It's an area you're meant to move through quickly, there's not an actual timer. It can be quite annoying, but again, I've played this game so many times. I know that the quickest way is to kind of go up here. And often the safest way, but not always.
There's the boss! They're moving the cargo! We're out of time! Get to that church now! Push forward to the church!
Come on, Yuri. And then you can just kind of jump off here and avoid all of them and go up the side, which is nice. And of course the door opens as soon as you get here. Oh my god, get off me. I thought Soap had killed it, but he hadn't. So we're nearly there, we've nearly got the cargo. And the second we breach, we get like knocked down by this dog thing. We just got to fire our gun on its side, of course. Eventually the dog, hyena, maybe it's a hyena. Of course, the moment we get here, we're just that second too late, and they get away with the cargo. The Price is pissed, it executes another person. But I really like that, again, doing the breach in a different way, where you're pinned down by the dog. Hyena, sorry, and you just have to quickly use your pistol to get out of it. And we'll see that used again later in the game as well. But it's a really kind of nice, again, breaking it up. So now we're introduced to another character, Burns, who's in the SAS.
Nous avons intercepté un message crypté.
Idon, that's in go London now.
Prévenez les renseignements britanniques.
Kind of intercepting a phone call.
The French just intercepted a message concerning a suspicious shipment headed for British soil.
Have we identified the vessel?
No, sir. The call came from a number on the watch list for forgotten.
So these are the crates we saw being sent off. The Fregata crates that we think have links to Makarov, that we didn't get in time. Now the British intelligence agency is concerned that they're coming to London.
Advised tasking SAS to investigate Tier 1 threats.
Patch me through to Hereford.
Ma'am, I understand we have unknown hostiles expecting a package.
MI5 has identified several possible points of entry.
So now we're back to these kind of on-the-grid SAS soldiers to find out what these crates are. So again, this is already, I think, the fourth character we're controlling in this game. No, we controlled Soap briefly as well. We've controlled Soap, the American, Yuri, now the SAS, and we controlled the bodyguard. And we're also controlling the person in the plane looking down. Sorry, the helicopter looking at this campaign as well. So that's 6 perspectives at the start of this mission. I love that. I love that jumping around from perspective to perspective and always making sure you're there to see what's happening from an embodied position. So this is another kind of end of Act 1 moment. There's 2 end of Act 1 moments, I guess, in this game between the president's kidnapping and then this, and then they all come together later on. But we will do that in the next video. That's enough for now. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see another really well-placed mission next time.